Hello all, welcome to Python programming course session 1. So today in session 1 we are going to learn what is programming language, why we are learning Python, and how does a computer understand Python, then how to print output statement in Python, then we'll also learn about variables and its application in Python programming language. So let's start like this. So let us see what is programming. So many of you know about programming, but let us see what exactly the programming is. Programming is a way to instruct the computer to perform various tasks. So we have this sentence, right? So let us split the sentence into two halves, like instruct the computer and perform various tasks. So what is instruct computer? Basically it means that we give some set of instructions to the computer to do some task, like adding some numbers, or it can be even just rounding off numbers, or print some statement, whatever it is. Maybe if I want to explain you in a very simple way, if you want to do any cooking work, say for example let us do cookies. Okay, so if you want to do some cookies, a cookie is a cookies making cookies is nothing but a task, right? But to do this task we have some different instructions, like we have to take some flour, and then sugar, then butter, and etc. So we have to add these things, and we have to make this a dough. So these are the instructions, but the instruction alone cannot become a task. So set of instructions will become a task. So the task would be a simply one, like as we discussed now, like it can be a complex one, like having some different set of instructions coming together, and that becomes a task, right? Hope you understood about programming. So now let us see why Python, basically, like why exactly we have to learn Python. There are so many different languages, right? Why we have to learn Python? Python is incredibly easy to learn, and all over the world it is the first beginning language most of them will be like using, because it is like most accessible among programming languages, because it has a simplified syntax and it is not at all complicated, and it has some wide range of applications, like we can develop websites, we can also use this programming language, that is Python, for data science, machine learning, and even academics, a lot of different places. And since this community, the Python community, is so wide, we give a immense support from the community also. Since it is like flexible, reliable, we will use this Python everywhere in today's world. So let us learn this most exclusive programming languages that we have got, that is Python, and let's see how it is done. But to do all these things, we require one platform, right? We require one programming tool or the editor. So where we are going to do this? So we are going to do this on in a online compiler. So this Replit.com is one of the online compilers that we are using for this course. So if you have any of the editors installed in your laptop or your devices, you are free to do that. But if you don't have anything handy that is installed, please try to use Replit. So let's start using Replit. This is the Replit online editor. So let's see how to use it. If you are a new user, please click on login, and when you click on login, you always continue with Google, so that your existing email IDs you'll be able to get into it like this. So for you, this page might look a little blank, because since you'll be for the first time, you don't have any projects here. But for me, I have some projects, so that's why you're going to see this project. For you, there'll be no projects here, and you can see always there is a create option over here, right? So this create, we can create games. Yes, games, we can create games, and also Python code. So let us start learning Python code, and in our future workshops and in our future courses we will see how to develop the games also. So let us start creating a first project of ours. So let's click on this Python. So when we just click on this Python, and you can see it is asking for the title of your project. So you can give the title of the project as project 1. So the first project that you're doing, so you can give project 1, and you can just leave everything by default, and you can click on create ripple. So once you click on create ripple, so it will start working on creating your ripple, and it will load this page. So here you can see some beautiful page that is appearing, and this is nothing but your online editor. Okay, so this white space what you're seeing, this is a editor space, and the black which you're seeing, this is a console area where you can see the output. So let's start doing a small code so that we will understand how to edit and how to also see the output. So let's start like this. Okay, now let us see how to print a string. Yes, did you see how I did this? So I just gave a keyword called as print, and I just opened and closed the brackets. This is a simple brackets, or you can also call this as a round brackets. And then I'm opening and closing the double inverted commas, and in between these double inverted commas I have just given my sentence, or have given my string. So in programming language we call this sentence or word as string. So what do you mean by string? So it is nothing but a group of characters that is put together in one place. For example, so H is a character, E is a character, L, L, O. So all of these things are characters, but I am putting all these characters in one place, and this will become a string. So string is nothing but a collection of characters in one place. Okay, and even computers take space as a character. It considers space as also a character. So we should always keep this in mind. So even a sentence, a word, whatever we write, we have to always give that in double quotation marks like this. So once you have given this instruction to print hello world onto this console, so how to get this? So click on run button, and you can see whatever the string that you have given here, the same string you are getting as an output. And don't you wonder how this is happening? So let me tell a short story for you. Okay, so what will happen when I hit the run button? So what is the behind the scenes, right? So computers usually don't understand English. Yes, they don't understand English. So they understand only binary language. That is nothing but the combinations of zeros and ones like this. But how this we are writing in English, and how does it communicating to the computer? So there is a beautiful journey that will happen between the editor screen to the console screen. So what will happen when I hit the run button? So there are two process which majorly takes place. One is interpretation, and the other one is compilation. During the interpretation, it is nothing but it will check for the syntax. Yes, it will check for the syntax. What is syntax? Syntax is very similar to your English grammar. So what is a grammar? It is a set of instructions or the rules to write or to use the programming language, or to use the language basically. The syntax is the same way. So syntax is nothing but it is some set of rules to use that particular programming language. Example, if I put P in capital letter here in the uppercase, and if I run the button, so we can see some error. So this error, who is giving this error? So this error will be generated by an interpreter. So interpreter is going to generate these errors saying that this particular name or print, you don't have anything called like this, no, inbuilt. I don't understand this. That's what it is telling. And if you put the same print in a small letter like this, then it will understand. And also you can observe there is no red line, red underline here. And whenever you hit run button, now it's able to run. So this is the work of interpretation. So interpretation will check for the syntax. So once the syntax is correct, so what is the next step? The compilation will happen. So in the compilation process, what exactly is going to happen is your higher level language, that is nothing but your English or any such languages where we write programming, right? So any such language, it can be like German, it can be Swedish, it can be Italian, anything. So all these languages will get converted to the machine level language, that is nothing but zeros and ones. So in our case, we are writing our we are writing this code in English, and that will get converted to zeros and ones. So this process will happen during the compilation process. So compilation act like a translator. Okay, compiler act like a translator between your high level language to the low level language, that is nothing but your binary. So like this, we are making the computer understand whatever the code that we are trying to write, or whatever the instructions that we give here, the computer will understand in this way. So these are the two different processes that will take place in the fraction of second whenever I hit the run button. Hope you understood how this works, right? So let us see the next part, what is variables. Okay, let's see what is variable now. A variable is a value that can change depending on the conditions or information passed to the programming. Okay, so I'm able to understand a little. Now what exactly variable is? Let us understand in a very common way, okay? So here you can see, as a picture depicts, there is a bucket and there is some kind of data that is like put inside. So let us take this as a water, okay? So I have a variable called as a bucket, and inside that I have a value of water. So in case if I want to put some other thing inside this bucket, so I have to first empty this bucket and then I have to place this other data, right? The same way, so basically variable is a memory location, where that is an empty memory location where you can put any value inside that, and it is always changeable. Okay, so depending on the usage, we can update the variable. For example, in your day-to-day life, you will be playing a lot of games, right? So in that game, score is one of the variable. Initially it will be 0, and as and when you progress in the game, you gain something, you will get a lot of different points, and that is nothing but a variable. So score is a variable, and the score that you get, the actual score like 0, 1, 2, 3, that will keep on changing. That's nothing but your value. So score has a value, and that is always changeable, and no two values can fit in your variable at the same time. So you have to keep this in mind. So let us see how can we use this. So let's see how the variable is used. Okay, so let us see how to define a variable. So I'm defining a variable called as name here, and I'm putting a equal to symbol so that I can put some value to this variable. So if I create something like this, internally what will happen, some memory location will be allocated to this variable called as name, and it can store some kind of data. So I'm trying to store a data called as Sandeep, okay, in this case. So now the name is having a data called as Sandeep. See, if you just think about your bucket, the bucket called as name, it is having a value Sandeep. Now wherever I want to carry that value called as Sandeep, if I want to carry that, I can just easily carry that bucket and I can move around, and that bucket represents Sandeep. Okay, so the same way now, if I want to print my name, basically it's like if the computer wants to tell hi Sandeep, whatever the name, whatever the value inside that, if it wants to tell it, then I'm going to represent it like this. I'm going to print the variable like this, okay, using f string method. So using f string method, what I can do is I can put this, I can open and close the brackets, and in between that I'll just put f and then open the double inverted comma, and whatever I want to type I will type, then I'll put flower bracket and put the variable name like this. So this particular string, how it's going to help us is like it's going to print hi as it is, but instead of name here, it's going to put the value of the name here. So instead of hi name, whenever I see that on the console, it's going to be represented as hi Sandeep. So shall we see how it works? Yes. See, the first command that I've passed is like print hello world, that is again printing here. The second command that I've passed is like the name should store my name like the Sandeep. This is a value. It is storing that particular value inside this name, and whenever I call this name, the value is getting represented over here, right? So this is how we represent variables, okay? And I'm also teaching you one more thing, like there is a difference between these two names, okay? Maybe I'm just taking one more name as Srinivas, okay? So this name is different and this name is different. Both are not same. That is because Python is case sensitive. It is case sensitive, uppercase and lowercase. It does matter for the Python, okay? So there is a difference between name here, which is in the third line, and the fourth line name, because n is in small letter, n is in capital letter. So this is a different bucket. So there is two different memory locations, and in two different memory locations we have two different values like this, okay? So now if I just try to print name and I expect the output to be like hi Sandeep, it doesn't happen, because it will print hi Srinivas. That is because n is in capital letter here, you can see. And if I expect Sandeep to be printed, it will not do that. So what I have to do, I have to like carefully look at that and print small n like this, right? And then if I hit run button, then it will print my name. Otherwise it just prints some other name, and I cannot expect the same output to be, you know, visible on my console window. So this is how variables work. So let us do a small task for the day. So the task is like this. Here we are able to see print statement, right? And here we have used f string method with some variables over here as a placeholders for the actual names, but we haven't given the actual names. So if I run the code here, so here you can see wherever there is wherever there are these characters, there are these variables, so in that place these values are getting replaced. So now instead of these values, we have to put the actual values like a name, character name, or animal name, or the action word, please, like this. So let us do that one by one. So I'm just going to delete all of these things, and you can observe there is a red line that is everywhere all over this place, right? So let us try to clear this, okay? So now the hint is you can just use the same variable names for your characters or the place or whatever it is. So let me use the same name, character1 is equals to, I'll just give the character name as King, okay? King is one of the character, and just see the sentence. Then he is going for a picnic to place. So place is another variable. So I'll put the variable the value as maybe London, right? Okay. And the third variable is character2, and for that character2 he saw whom? Maybe Goldsmith. And the action word, right? So this is underscore, and this is very important. We can only use underscore as a special character in our variables. We cannot use any other thing. Okay, this is underscore, and the action word is fighting. And the animal, I am giving the animal as tiger. Okay, so these are some of the words, and for this particular variable I have given this values. Now instead of these empty spaces, these values are going to get updated. Now you can see what will happen. I just hit the run button, and this is how it will be. So see here, about 100 years ago there lived a king. One fine day he was going for a picnic to London. Okay, he saw a goldsmith who seemed to be in late 20s fighting with tiger. So it's a funny story, but it doesn't have any meaning. But you can create a lot of such funny, interesting stories, right? So this is the task that we did. So we also learned how to use variables in the print statements, right? So please keep this in mind, practice this, and let's meet in the next session for more learnings. Happy learning. Bye.